Alright, folks, this is Asteroids Wired. We're going to fire up more Devil May Cry and see what happens here. So, well, yeah, some of this is actually blind. Well, actually, it's entirely blind at this stage. I'm going to have to look up the rest of the information because part 4 will probably be me figuring out what to do at this stage because I was kind of starting to get lost towards the end of this. But you'll see the tail end of this gameplay session at the beginning of part 4. But, yeah, because I try to keep these underneath 16 minutes, but, so yeah, there's a function here that says about easy mode. I'm just going to switch to that because I don't know the concept of how tough this game's going to be, so I don't want to have difficulty with the controls on top of everything else. But alright, Judge of Death. So, nice. I don't remember what mission 1 was called. Kind of happens, but I like the fact that they named the missions and such. So yeah, new controls. Dante can now shoot things, and just keep in mind that he now has 2 forms of attack. But the thing about the guns, though, is just the fact that they're not really as effective at taking out the enemies, at least not early on. I get the feeling that they'll probably have upgrades. You'll learn about upgrades soon enough, but yeah, the concept behind it is, for now, the sword. That's kind of... But, trying to think of what's been going on with music. Kind of taking a little bit of a break. Haven't really thought of much. I think I'm going to review Broken Side soon. Kind of looking after that. Something I want to get back to. It's been since like 2019 since I've covered them. There's just been a lot of reviews that I've done this year that I haven't messed with in a while. And it feels good. Like my most recent review as of this point, Sum 41. I hadn't reviewed them since 2017. I want to start doing that and getting back into some of these catalogs because, I mean, in some cases it feels like those reviews aren't going to be completed, but I'm starting to have more of like a penchant for wanting to finish off discographies. It just feels a lot healthier to do that. So it gives you more knowledge about it, and allows you to kind of have more, not so much in just like coffee talk, but actually be able to have some decent details about it. So yeah, I really hope that Devil May Cry 2 is not sucky, because I just would have to say I wonder about it, because I mean, I don't think that it's a horrid game. I just wonder if it, I think the concept, I mean, this gameplay in this game is basic. To me, I think maybe the complaints would have been about it back in those days is the fact that the gameplay is simple and doesn't really evolve on anything. But I mean, if it is just more of the same, you still have to kind of say and stuff like, I mean, was Devil May Cry so bad that more of the same is a bad thing? Because some folks, there are critics out there that will say if it doesn't, like, if it's exactly like the first one in terms of not just like the storyline, but the gameplay, they don't like that. And, you know, I look at certain entries like, you know, I wasn't angry that Grand Theft Auto Vice City was just like Grand Theft Auto 3. I mean, to me, that was fine. I mean, they expanded upon it, but it was basically the same as that game. That's kind of, I don't know. I mean, I would like to say that that game would actually be good. This is really odd and creepy and awkward, just the fact that Dante gets stabbed by a sword through the chest. And it's the strangest. I don't know where the mechanics of this came from. Basically implies that Dante isn't human. I mean, if that would, you know, a normal hero, that would have finished off second stage in the damn game. He just rises right up this, I don't know what the hell this was. This is like some Gothica shit or something like that. I don't even know how he got that out of his chest, you know. I mean, I guess it kind of, but I think the hilt probably would have damaged some organs in there. No, I'm not criticizing. I mean, I know it's a video game. It's just kind of like, whoa, what was this from? But that's the thing. I mean, back in the day, this was like state of the art just because blood in video games. I mean, back in like the early PS2 games, if you saw a bunch of blood, because there wasn't really blood in like Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis type stuff. So it was pretty recent. I mean, even like the first PlayStation, it was kind of off and on, so it's like, hey, that's like, wow, you know, Dante's a badass type thing. But it's basically a sword upgrade. I need to see what it's called. I think I said the Alistair. You know, it's kind of, screen is kind of small, but sword upgrade, be sure to get it. It'll help with your attack power. It's good to know. Hopefully we'll get a gun power up soon. This is kind of a puzzle game. That's really the thing about it, is this is kind of a puzzle game and stuff. I just would have to say, I mean, it has its action, but there are moments where you have to kind of figure out what to do. And there's a number of moments where it's just like you kind of get caught, and then it's just like, you know, what next? So, I mean, really, 20 years ago, you probably would have had to just look up on, like, Game Facts or something like that. But now I kind of look after it, and it's like, obviously you have YouTube. And that's probably what I'm going to do to figure out the rest of this stage, because I was kind of getting, like, lost. Just kind of reading this with y'all. But really, this is about piecing things together. That's the whole concept, is just remembering. I mean, it wants you to be observant, and then it wants you to remember to be observant. That's kind of the concept. And I'm not bickering about the concept, because it's basically like a PlayStation 2 version of a Zelda game. Something like that, you know, something in that relative kind of concept, just to be able to say that. But it is good. I mean, I definitely, like, even now, I mean, this still has like this creepy kind of Castlevania and Gothic kind of feel, this overall type stuff that goes along with it. You know, when I mentioned like Gothica like a few minutes ago, it makes me want to watch that movie with Halle Berry in it. I mean, she kind of was a scream queen for a little while. It's like, damn. I mean, that was kind of, I mean, Halle Berry was in some panned movies between that and Catwoman, but she kind of was like a dark sensation for a while. She had some of that stuff where she was in those type of movies. I like scream queens. They're fun. You know, like trying to think of other ones. Like the chick from Resident Evil movies, she did all those. And there's just other ones, those type of movies and stuff. But yeah, so I don't run out of stuff to sit there and say. I mean, I've got reviews. It was hot out. I went out and got the mail earlier, and it was pretty hot. I was just like, what the hell? You know? Kind of the situation there. Yeah, my computer right now says it's 95 degrees outside, and that's, you know, it's mid-early June, so it's totally going to be a nightmare this summer. I'm just going to have to say. I mean, for people like Dante, I just wonder what Dante thinks is summer. I really do. I wonder what he would think, as he's in like a red trench coat. It doesn't strike me at this time of the year that it's at right now is June. It feels like it's like September or October or something. I mean, I'm not for certain, but I would say it just feels like this game is in the fall. But I don't know if future Devil May Cry's have him in like the snow and that type stuff, but Dante just doesn't stick out in seasons like spring and summer. He's not a sunlight fellow. But yeah, this is like this is another time where I feel like there does need to be characters. I do feel like, you know, with all this stuff, I mean, Dante's more interacting with like pictures on the wall, and there need to be characters. Like, where are all the living characters? Where's like the occupants of this town to kind of say, hey, I don't. It's the famous. Like, if Dante's really a famous individual, they could be like, hey, it's the great Dante. This is, you know, I'll sell you like a new gun upgrade for like whatever the money is in this game, something like that. It'd be interesting. I would like to hope that like at least the PS3 Devil May Cry's did that, but I don't know if like Capcom and stuff figured that out early on. But it's just kind of, I mean, it really is just a hack and slash kind of thing, but it's just kind of, need to be more characters. It's not so much boring, it's just kind of the concept where I'm just like, hell, I just look at it and I think that this would be an easy kind of element to have some people to talk to, kind of prove that Dante's an ass, that type of stuff. You could have like selections of things to say to them. I mean, this is free game here, Capcom. You know, if you ever find this video, you can look at it and say, hey, that would be a brilliant idea for Dante to talk to people. That's basically the truth. But maybe they've already, I mean, like I said, I haven't played all the games, so I don't know for certain, but I mean, really, I can't criticize this game too much because this was the first entry. This was state of the art for 20 years ago, so that's kind of, it's not like I expect these then. Like, if it was like the third or fourth one and it didn't have that stuff, I could criticize it more. But, I mean, this is an awesome PS2 game, but Kind of like Grand Theft Auto 3. It's like, you know, in some cases there may be people who can criticize GTA 3, but that really kind of was a very important game. So. Yeah, so apparently there's some lion character. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with that. I get the feeling that there might be a boss fight coming up soon. I'm just going to have to really look into that and see what the what for is about it. I'm not really sure as to how to get to it. I collect like this item by the end of this episode, but it doesn't seem to... I mean, it seems like there's more hunting that needs to be done, so there's not going to really be like an absurd amount of progress in this episode. We're not going to see the lion in this episode, basically. But yeah, but there is more fighting, so. So yeah, there's been a couple of times where I've tried to shoot these enemies, but the concept, they just throw projectiles back at you and you can't really seem to shoot those. I mean, I think you could probably jump over them, but I mean, they throw them pretty quickly. But yeah, it's gonna be great when we get the gun upgrades. You know, this would be a good game to kind of have like some new, not so much call this like Devil May Cry 5 or Devil May Cry 6, but something where it has the Devil May Cry name, but kind of do like what the Terminator movies do, where they call it like Devil May Cry Requiem or Devil May Cry Nocturne or something like that to kind of imply. I mean, it'd have to be something creepy and ghoulish, but just to kind of say, sure, it's not that difficult to find some sort of ghoulish word. And that's the special item I got, but I don't know where to use that item. But yeah, have something creepy or ghoulish to kind of keep going with it. Because I mean, reboots of like series are okay, but it kind of gets confusing when you say I want Devil May Cry, and people are like, well, which one are you talking about? Are you talking about the one from the PS2? Are you talking about the one from the PS4? Or are you going to be talking about the one from the PS6 in maybe like 7 or 8 years? I mean, it just gets kind of... I mean, they need to come up with like a more routine kind of way of talking about some of those. I mean, maybe the PS4 Devil May Cry really was just a reboot of the first one, but I mean, it's difficult to have like gaming stores having so many copies of the same game, you know. But I mean, either way, it's just a lot of video game machines out there. It's kind of the thing about it. New enemies. These are a little bit trickier to fight just because they have a little bit more defense than the last ones. So, pretty cool enemies though. It'd be nice to see artwork of them. I really like the character design in this game. It's got some good stuff. That's kind of the stuff about it. I mean, this would make a pretty good comic or manga, something like that. I would have liked that probably 20 years ago. That would have been neat. But... like I said, this would make a great movie. I mean, just paying attention. I mean, really, it's not lengthy like a Grand Theft Auto game where it wouldn't make sense to do it. Really would be great. We're going to shoot the spiders here. It's a pretty neat little thing to be able to do. Yep, so we're about heading towards the end of this particular episode. I'm trying to think of other stuff to talk about here. I mean, this is mostly just going to be aimless fighting, just because I kind of starting to get confused as far as what to do. Like I said, this was a blind portion here. I thought that staff key that I just got was like what needed to meet the lion, but I think there's more to it, so we'll find out. But the thing about it is, I turned off my PlayStation, so I'm going to have to do this basically again. It's not really that tricky, it's simple enough to do, but, you know. I do wonder if, like, future versions of this game do wind up having, like, save points. It would make it simpler. I definitely think the PS4 version of this game should do that. I mean, it's too late now if it did, but, you know. Yeah, kind of hungry. Trying to think of what's up. So yeah, I'm probably gonna start looking into doing some more music reviews and stuff. Just gonna have to get that in motion. That's probably the next step, is me just trying to figure out some music to listen to and kind of go at it from there. I did talk about music a little bit, but it's just been kind of... I did pick up a Hobson CD, or get a Hobson CD, so I got that, and I'm gonna... I mean, I've already reviewed that, but it's just basically... It's good to have that stuff, just because Hobson's pretty dope. But alright, so folks, I will see you in part 4 as it shows up.